Catalina, Craig Smoak, and Rod Babers joins us, one of our favorite Longhorn analysts. There is no lack of energy when it comes to Rod Babers, and I'm sure he is as fired up as he's been in a long time because Texas is not only in the Big 12 championship, but they're the favorites in the game, and they're not having to play Oklahoma. Rod, this looks like a great matchup for the Horns off the top because of what Oklahoma State does well compared to what Texas does well and all of that. But where is the spot you were concerned the Horns could slip up?
First of all, thank you guys for having me again. I appreciate it. Where the Longhorns could slip up, that's an interesting question because it is a really good matchup for them. I think the pass defense for Texas has been a little shaky all season long, specifically at the safety position. Teams have attacked the safety and have been able to make some big plays over the top. Last week was probably the most aggressive we've seen the corners play against Texas Tech. They play a lot of bump and run coverage on both sides, the field and the boundary. And I wonder if they'll try to do that again because Texas Tech presented probably the second best rusher that Texas has faced all season long in Taj Brooks. And I wonder if you'll see them do that again against Oklahoma State to try to bring an extra guy in the box, take away the easy RPO completions, the easy inside breaking routes for Alan Bowman in Oklahoma State and force them to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. People don't know, of course, all the talk is about Ollie Gordon. He's going to win. The Doak Walker's the best running back in the country. Texas has one of the best rush defenses in the country, probably top 5, top 10, one of the best rush defenses out there. And this will be the final exam for them. If they're truly a dominant rush defense, they'll be able to neutralize Ollie Gordon. What people don't know is that Oklahoma State throws the ball a lot. One of the leaders in pass attempts in the conference actually is Alan Bowman. And last week versus BYU, they threw it 50-50 on first and second down run pass ratio. So they throw it a lot more than people think.
Rod, what jumps out to you about Ollie Gordon and Oklahoma State in general? I mean, you kind of touched on it there with Alan Bowman, but as far as their matchup with Texas, but just in general, watching their film, what do you think of Gordon in particular, and then what else stands out to you amongst the rest of what you saw there from the orange and black?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will tell you what, one thing that I really liked about him, I had a friend of mine who's a scout, Jerry Hamilton over at Inside Tech, had a really great description of Ollie Gordon. He called him, and I hope it's not a backhanded compliment, but he called him a low-budget Eddie George. And I was like, actually, that's pretty damn good because Eddie George is a great running back, so I'll take a low-budget Eddie George any day. And he does kind of remind me of that and just his running style. I think that considering, and I'm not trying to take a shot at Oklahoma State's offensive line, I don't think they have elite run blocking guys. As a matter of fact, you don't look at Pro Football Focus, they have them as the 88th best run blocking unit on the offensive line in the country with a 57 run blocking grade as an offensive line. That's not great, but in spite of that, Ollie Gordon still is able to pound out yardage. He's second in the country in yards after contact. He's a next level back. And if he is indeed elite, guys, if he's elite, I'm talking about transcendent, then he will be able to get yards against this Texas rush defense. They will put his elite ability to the test as a runner. And don't discount his ability as a pass catcher. Texas has been really susceptible to the screen game this year. Iowa State ran some nice screens on them. K-State ran some screens on them. They're a really aggressive, fast flow defense. So there are some things when you're talking about misdirection that can make that aggressiveness work against them. And that's one of those things in the screen game. You can see Ollie Gordon actually work that really well against Texas as well.
Rod, if you're Steve Sarkisian, what is your message to the team, seeing as you're an early kick, there'll only be one game that will affect you completed for the playoff. That'll be the Pac-12 game on Friday or tonight. How do you keep Texas focused on not worrying about what's ahead and worrying about Oklahoma State? Because winning the game is only part of the battle for Texas to get into the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I have personal experience from this. I remember we played Colorado in the Big 12 title game when I was at Texas in 2001. We had already beat them earlier that year, so a little bit different than this scenario. But before the game, Tennessee had lost, and we were informed that if we beat Colorado, that it was very likely we'd play in the national title game against Miami. I thought it was at the time. And I remember that announcement, it put the right amount of pressure on some guys. Some guys like myself thought this is the moment I've always waited for. I'm about to, accomplish my dreams, or I'm about to play on the biggest stage in college football. And I want to be, I want to be the reason my team wins. I want to go make the big play on the big stage and incentivize some of those guys. I think others, and they put too much pressure on themselves, right? And that pressure caused them to collapse and implode on themselves like a dying star. And so I think it was mixed in terms of the reaction coach got from that. And we lost that game in Colorado, actually, and we should have won that game. We should have been playing for a national title. But that's what pressure can do. And the difference between my generation and this generation is they have social media, so the pressure's already there, and they already know the expectations. They already know what they're playing for. But this is a team that plays really well under pressure. My team, we were a really good team, won 11 games, but we weren't clutch like this team. This team handles pressure, and they're clutch. They make clutch plays in critical moments of the game. We've seen it in the Alabama game. We saw it, in the K-State game, saw it U of H game, TCU game. Time and time again, we've seen these guys make clutch plays offensively and defensively, and that's the difference. I think this team can handle the pressure because they have good leadership, and I've seen them perform at their best in pressure-packed moments.
What's it like just right now as obviously you're a former player, but a fan, a supporter, a person following along the journey, knowing this is the last ride of the Big 12 and they've got an opportunity to go out on that high note and also possibly go play for a national title here? Just what's life like in Austin? It seemed to be rocking last Saturday against Texas Tech.
It's weird, guys, because it's been a long time, right? 2009 was the last time you had a team this good, and the last time you had a team that was in the national championship conversation if you're a Texas. So Longhorn fans, they're giddy about it. They're excited, but they're a little anxious, especially with the farewell tour of the Big 12 happening. It's going better than expected, and Longhorn fans are not used to things going better than expected. They're waiting on the other shoe to drop. They're waiting on some bad news, and I keep telling them just enjoy the ride, enjoy the experience. Even if there's an unfortunate loss, you still have to enjoy it. Most people have this team at 10-2, and they've way over exceeded expectations. And I think at this point they've put themselves in a position where they can play for a national title. So this is a great team. We've been trying to see if Texas can take the leap from being a good team like they were last year to being a great team, and that's exactly what they did. So people are excited. They're pretty healthy. What we're hearing from Florida State is that they may have a third-string quarterback playing against Louisville, and if they lose, we know that's the easiest path for Texas. So, guys, there's a ton of optimism. There's a ton of just joy with the program right now, with the fandom, because they haven't experienced it in a long time. It's been about 15 years since the Longhorns have been this good.
Rod is a Florida State grad. I'm telling you, don't doubt Brock Glenn. Don't do it.
Hey, man, I've never heard of. He could become a legend tonight. He can become a legend this weekend, right? Legend.
Listen. I'm going to go light candles at churches that I don't even go to for that to happen.
Hey, but on the other end, there'll be a lot of Longhorn fans lighting their own candles at home at churches.
Yeah, I know.
On the other end,
I know. Rod, this is, and Craig mentioned it about the last ride of the Big 12 and the nostalgia and all that. Is there a little bit also of especially after that Texas Tech game where Brett Yormark had thrown a big dart in the offseason and then, they just steamrolled Tech of let's go out just absolutely guns a-blazing?
Yeah, I mean, there's also now this discussion about style points, right? That Texas, when they win, they need to win by a large margin, make it look good in case the playoff committee has a decision that comes down to style points, even though they have a better strength of schedule and better strength of record and better record against top 25 teams and common opponents in Oregon. But we still know style points is a part of it. So there is a discussion about, hey, even with this being your last game, in the Big 12, you need to make a statement, not only because of the farewell tour, not only to, silence all the haters and Brett Yormark and company, but also to make a statement to the national college football world about the Longhorns and how good they are. And remember, guys, this is the first time I believe the committee watches all the games together. They actually get in a room together and watch them. Usually I think they watch them remotely together, or on iPads and stuff like that. So now they get a chance to watch them together. So there is something about winning impressively this weekend. So the committee as a group will go, hey, maybe we need to rethink the whole.
There was a moment last week that doesn't come around too often. It was just different. It was special, and you could feel the buzz around the entire country, and that's when Arch Manning made his long-awaited debut there. I guess Malik Murphy's banged up, right? That's apparently what's going on there. But your thoughts on just seeing that unfold, the obvious electricity that surrounds this young man, and just the moment to see that last week of him getting the big debut?
It's a great point, guys, because think about it. That game was filled with these big, spectacular moments. You had all three phases of the game scored. You had a kickoff return for a touchdown. You know, you had an interception return for a touchdown. There was a block punt. I mean, that was just great plays. It was a night game, so it was a drone shows and stuff. So the crowd was hyped, and the energy level was really high the entire time. So there were all these moments where the crowd got really loud. And you could ask any Longhorn fan, the crowd got the loudest of the night when Arch Manning came in the third quarter, guys. I BS you not. It is wild. He had to come in and actually tell the crowd to quiet down. He was like, y'all calm down. And I think the crowd was surprised because, like you said, Malik was supposed to go in, but Malik got hurt on one of the kickoff returns. He actually got clipped. I guess he was watching the Jumbotron and he didn't see the guys on the field, and he ended up getting hit by some guy getting blocked on the sideline. He leaves the game. So nobody expected Arch to come in. And I was told that people were texting friends like, hey, I know you were leaving because the Longhorns are up by 40, but you need to get back here, all right, because Arch is in the game. And people started coming back to their seats because of Arch. So I think he looked great, guys. He had the Longhorns only had, I believe, three third down conversions in that game, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't have a lot. They didn't need a lot. More than, I believe Arch was two of those. So Arch did pretty good for a guy. He had a 8-minute touchdown drive, just his second drive of his career, actually. So I thought he actually looked pretty good. He looked calm. He looked cool and collected. You even tell that he was in command of the offense. Usually you don't say that or use that term for a freshman quarterback. So he's special, and I think it was apropos, almost serendipitous that he got in the game and we didn't see Malik, because I think Malik will probably end up moving on and the future will be Arch. But the word on the street is that Quinn's coming back too. So we got first world problems at quarterback at Texas.
Yeah, you certainly do. Rod, thank you so much. Enjoy Arlington tomorrow. Have a blast, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
That's Rod Babers. He's the horn. He's